What's up, guys? Welcome to the 100th episode of the Trout Wrangler Podcast. Yeah, I can't believe that. 100 episodes. That is wild. Shout out to all the people that made it successful. First 100 episodes in the book. That's a lot of damn episodes. Kind of crazy. You got anything to say about that, Vibe Curator? 100 episodes. First off, I want to thank everybody that's tuned into an episode, liked, subscribed, gave it a review on any platform. Greatly appreciate anyone that has even listened to one episode or half of an episode. Definitely didn't think I would be here today. I thought I would have folded it by now, but we're here and we're staying. We're here and we're staying. As the Wolf of Wall Street would say, I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. But big thank you to all the listeners. Big thank you to anyone that's ever listened. Anyone that's even cared about the podcast. Big thank you to all the podcast partners. Afuera Coffee. Matt's the man. If you haven't tried some of their coffee, go and do it. Awesome dude. Free Fly Apparel. Obviously, if you haven't tried on any of their stuff, if you haven't given any of their stuff a chance, go and do it. Local Charleston, South Carolina company. Really awesome stuff. Comfortable, well built. I mean, I have some stuff from them that I've had for 7 years, and it hasn't worn down or even had a hole in it or anything. It's just pound for pound great stuff. Loon Outdoors makes some of the best fly tying tools and stuff like that in the industry. Awesome stuff. Bahio sunglasses, keeping the eyeballs protected. Some great shades. And the newest one, Trout Routes. They make an awesome app. They've got me out of a lot of jams in my day. Big time. Just awesome, helpful app. Thank you to all the people over there. And once again, just everyone that's listened. Wouldn't be here without you guys. But on today's episode, we got Mr. Nigel Green with C-Suite. Super cool concept he's got going on here. So we will be back at you with the interview with Mr. Nigel Green. What was that, big pal? What's up, guys? Like I said in the intro, we do have an interview today from the state of Florida. I'll kick it over to you. Let you introduce yourself a little bit, Nigel.
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me. My name is Nigel Green, and I'm a surfer and a fly fisherman.
Heck yeah, man. So, first question I always ask is, where and when did your fishing journey start, and kind of like what got you started using a fly rod?
My fishing journey started about the time I could walk. I mean, my mom has pictures of me when I was 2, 3 years old with, I guess, like a Doc Demon or some 3 foot long, fully encased Zebco 33 rig on Lake Gunnersville in North Alabama. I'm wearing a diaper and a life jacket so I don't fall in from the dock. And I would spend my days with my grandmother throwing bread, hot dogs, crickets, worms, and anything that would eat off that dock at a state park. And I couldn't have been happier. I mean, I catch hundreds of small bluegill, shellcracker, and largemouth bass, and that's where it started for me. And the water's always been a big piece of my story and my work life and in my personal life. And then my first experience with a fly rod happened after I graduated college in 2006, I moved to Nashville, and a friend of mine, his name's Miles Warfield, gave me a rod, and I ended up buying a St. Croix 5 weight. Was my first fly rod purchase with a Scientific Angler 5 weight reel, and I learned to fly fish on the Caney Fork and some of these tailwaters just east of Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Great place to start fishing. First off, dude, Gunnersville. I mean, we went there a lot in college, dude. I love that whole area.
It's a beautiful. You're right. It's a great place to learn to fish, and it's no one really realizes it at the time if they're like sitting on something special. But yeah, Lake Guntersville is a special place if you care about black bass.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I fished on a college team, and we went to Gunnersville, I think, twice or three times. And dude, well, the first time, you know, when the wind gets blowing on that lake, it's treacherous, man. We ended up in the rocks on the bridge, the one that Randy Howell won the Classic on that year. We ended up on the rocks one time because the wind was blowing way too hard. We were on a grass flat and ended up weighing in like 15 pounds, but great place, dude. Like it's grown up a ton now. They got like a brewery out there and stuff now. It's actually a pretty fun town to go to and fish.
For sure.
Yeah, man. But what inspired you to tie outdoor adventure directly to business growth and clarity?
So I have been a dirtbag, and dirtbag is a term that I use it. I borrowed the definition that Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia, uses, and he calls himself a dirtbag, and he uses the word dirtbag as like the ultimate compliment that you can give someone. I never wanted to be a businessman, other than that it would give me the opportunity to meet cool people, go cool places, and make enough money to surf and fish. And Yvonne has always been a muse and an inspiration to me because he built this billion-dollar clothing business, and really all he wanted to do was make better climbing equipment.
Yeah,
And there was something about him and his story that had an indelible impact on me, the way he would dumpster dive for food and sleep in a car so that he could be closer to the break or closer to the face of the rock to climb. And I incorporated that into my work life very early. I was a medical device rep in early in my career, and instead of like a lot of people do, and there's no judgment to this. I didn't care about the dinners and the nice hotels and accruing hotel points and status. Instead, I slept in my Subaru in a national park in the Smoky Mountains or along the White River in Arkansas or wherever I thought I could fish or surf. I was more interested in gaining river miles than I was hotel miles. And so uh, I did that. And what I didn't realize at the time is that my ability to integrate the water and surfing or fishing or trail running or something hard outside of work made me better at work. And I reached a point in my career where, very subtly, without me even really knowing, I had bought into this narrative that the things that actually made me really good at work were somehow competing with it. That if I surfed and fished and went away for 4 days to Mexico to surf Baja California, or if I took this trip to go chase tarpon, that it was costing me something in work. And so I very slowly over time in a season of my life lost that part of myself, and said someday I'll get back to it. But right now I've got to grind. I've got to be in there. I've got to be at work super early. I've got to outwork everyone else. And Ryan, what became true for me is um, it was all a lie, and I lost the edge that the water gave me, and I became a very dull and ineffective executive. And I had to, it took that experience for me to recognize it and get some language around that. For me, though, and it could be for anyone, it's something hard outside of work, but for me, very clearly, saltwater. So
Yeah.
fly fishing and surfing were the container, the context where I became really dangerous in the boardroom, was taking things that I was wrestling with at work to these environments and taking all the information I had that wasn't helping me make a decision, but coupling the information that I needed to make a hard decision with the intuition that I refined and sharpened on the bow or in the lineup, that was actually what made me really good at work.
Okay. Dude, that's an unbelievable answer right there. Super good. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize about fly fishing and stuff like that, especially fishing, is it's all about decision making. And you're using your brain to make decisions on the water. It's like it's putting the puzzle together, really. Where it's like, all right, it's say 60 degrees out in fall, you know where those fish are going to be, especially in your area. They're going to be tailing. And it's like putting that puzzle together also helps you in the room, like in the boardroom or at work, with making decisions about something. Like I worked in the recreation and parks management industry. That's a story for another day. I had to get out of it because you probably have kids that are in youth sports.
Yep, I do.
It's just unbelievable right now. So I was like, this is a little bit, this is overwhelming, and that's actually how I started time flies, is just as a um outlet, kind of to de-stress me when I got back on it from a day of work. Glass of bourbon and all my fly time material spread out across the kitchen table. But like that's when I looked back too. I was like, that was something that helped me out with a lot outside or like inside of work too. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. So it was really cool to hear you say that same thing.
Well, I think that we all, like you know, for you, it's the therapeutic value that you get from something useless. That exercise is a different part of your brain that comes out in tying flies. You know, there's something therapeutic, and there's been plenty of research, scientific research on the value of fly fishing for uh, PTSD, specifically with veterans and child related trauma. There's something about that, and I'm not a researcher, I'm not a scientist, but I've read some of the work. So that's immutable. What you're talking about is immutable. But I think we all struggle to articulate, or maybe we either struggle to articulate exactly what it does, but we know that there's something that it does for us, or we are waiting on someone to give us permission
Right.
to go there and explore it. I've landed on, for me, that the, the market business is a brutal teacher. It gives you the test, then it gives you the lesson. And so if you know anybody that's ever built a business or had a really high pressure job, it's not like school where you know the test is next Friday and you have all this material to study and you go in prepared. Uh, Business gives you the test and then you learn the lesson. Well, the ocean is the same kind of
Oh
teacher.
yeah.
She is unforgiving. She doesn't care about your feelings. You don't really win, you just didn't lose
Right.
that day. And I love the way, like, for me, it's I love tarpon, and I
Oh
like
yeah.
redfish are practice for tarpon, but there you can't hide when you're tarpon fishing. Either you
Mm-mm.
made the shot or you didn't, and it doesn't matter what rod you have, um, how much money you make. It's the great equalizer. Either you can make the shot or you can't. And there are times when you do everything right and that fish still doesn't want to eat.
Yeah.
And so there's no winning at tarpon fly fishing. You just There's just degrees in which you don't lose.
I completely do. Yeah, tarpon. That's one of those things. I got addicted to tarpon fishing when I was living down in Florida. I lived outside the villages, and I was over at the Space Coast every day. Not every day, but every weekend. I had like a bass boat, and learning those little ditch tarpon, even dude, they'll punch you in the face if you're not making the right shot. You're not yeah, like you're saying, you could do everything right, and sometimes they'll just look up at your gurgler and be like, "Oh, yeah, not today, motherfucker." you know?
Not today.
yeah, but dude, like that's something too that you like you're talking about putting to business. It's just like sometimes it can be like a tarpon. it can definitely be like a tarpon, but who should care about C-suite and why should they care about it?
Yeah, so C-suite started out for me as a way to honor and try to make something useful out of what I knew about integrating play, hard play with work, and how it's not just therapeutic, but it's also like a competitive advantage for some of us. And I think the people that should care or pay attention to C-suite are the individuals that one know that there's real value in coaching and consulting, but also know that they they don't need more information. They have loads of data, loads of well-informed people around them, counsel, that are giving them the information that they need to make a decision. But they have so many decisions in a lot of domains of their life, whether it be, the investors that they are beholden to, the employees and the business that they've built, the friends that they have, the family. They've got commitments with their wife, like you and me. They have kids that are in youth sports. That's a whole other deal. Being involved in school. So, and they are stretched very thinly in a lot of domains of their life. And so when it comes to making a really important business decision, they have all the information, but they're stuck. And so what C-suite is it's a vehicle, a container, um, a different context. It's a tool that allows smart, informed executives that can't afford to get it wrong an environment to take all that information and process it in a distraction free, unforgiving setting that forces intuition, their own gut feel, the rest of their body that knows what to do, but gets muted by the Slack messages, the emails, the non-stop vying for their attention that ultimately sabotages them from making the 1 to 3 really important decisions that can have an asymmetrical impact on the rest of their life. But they keep punting to the next board meeting, pushing to the next quarter, thinking they need more information, but they really don't. They just need to quiet the brain, quiet the noise, all the distraction, and go find the signal. And the bow, the lineup, the ocean is the best place to get the clarity, the intuition you need to go make those tough decisions. And that's what C-suite does.
Yeah, dude, it is true. I mean, like you can put everything away and just restart your brain on the water anywhere. And that's something that like I love about fishing. And I think that's something that everybody should experience. Like my younger brother's an investment banker and he was working for one that just had him working nonstop. He got another job and when he was between jobs, I told him he doesn't really fish much. And I said, "Hey man, like let's go up to the mountains and fish for a day." I was like, "Get away from the city a little bit and just, restart your brain." He's like, "All right, man, sounds good." And we got up there and he finally he was like, "Dude, this is unbelievable." Like I'm not even really catching fish. He's like, "I just kind of want to move downstream and sit for a second and listen to the water run." And I was like, all right, man, like I'll sit here and catch fish all day. And he's like, sounds good. So finally he came back up. He's like, I feel completely like rejuvenated. He's like, I feel like going into his next job, I think that was something that like, he's like, you know what? Sometimes I need to kind of disconnect from stuff, get somewhere where there's no phone service and just like restart my brain, and it was kind of just like cool to see that firsthand.
It's powerful.
It is very much so, and it was kind of cool to have a day on the water with my brother that I usually don't have. But what's uh, what's your typical day at C Suite look like from morning on the water, like strategic work in the afternoon? How's your day look?
So, what I love about this and what the day is, a lot of us, myself, and a lot of my clients we love the idea that we're in control. And they control everything from where, the hotel that they pick to do the board meeting, who gets invited into their board meeting. They're in control. At least they feel like they're in control of a lot of things in their life. Well, there is no typical day in the C suite because it's all weather dependent, tide dependent. I have no idea. We can do the best that we can to plan our day, but we're doing this, because we're all busy. So it's usually done months in advance. Like, I've got a guy coming down to do 3 days with me in February, and we know what the tides are going to look like. So we can plan the fishing around, we're going to go fish this low tide. So all we know is what time we're going to fish, and so how we build the board work around it. Uh, but as we near those dates, we might find that the fish aren't going to eat because of a pressure system or weather or wind, or it may be really challenging because of the wind. So w- we don't really know, and that's what I love about this is it reminds them that control is largely an illusion, and so there's no typical day. But what happens is my clients get world-class advisory work to prepare them for the experience. So there's a lot of information gathering, and we do the normal Zoom stuff to help me understand where I think they might be stuck
Right.
in their business around growing it. Um, we do all the boardroom stuff, and then we typically land on, so 4 or 5 hours of in a conference room, looking over P&Ls, looking over board presentations, looking over all this information that helps me get up to speed on the context of their business. And we typically land on 2 or 3 decisions that need to be made. And I try to set an intention for when we go fishing. We're going to pay attention to the fishing, but just know that we're looking for and listening to analogies, metaphors, or listening to the rest of our body to help us decide on these 1 or 2 things. And inevitably, it happens. They miss a fish, they miss a wave, or they just have this moment where it's just sitting there quiet, and they're like, "This is what I have to do." And then we get it. We're on the boat, we're in the water, and it's like, this is what we have to do. And then we go back, and then we start organizing what needs to happen to execute these decisions that they've been wrestling with. And now they have the intuition and the clarity and the permission to make these really hard decisions, and then I help them execute it. And that's what a day looks like.
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, so
If we
like,
catch fish, great. But if we get clear on what needs to be true in our life and our business, that's what we're doing.
yeah, dude, that's awesome. I never
So I tell
really,
people, like, if you're looking for like a vacation or a retreat, this is not that. Like, you need to just go on a fishing trip, and you'll save a lot of money, and you'll get refreshed. These days are long. It's brutal. Um, it's not. It's fun for me, and it's fun for the right person. But for a lot of people, it's like the opposite of what you would say fun. I mean, it's not your normal fishing or surfing trip.
yeah, dude. So like, what? This is kind of like a follow up question. Like, what doesn't make it? Because it's not like happy go lucky kind of thing, like slapping asses and giving high fives after you catch a fish. You're at the end of the day, like kind of trying to get to those three things that you want to solve in your business life or something like that. That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because like I never really thought about it that way. It's like that. This puts like a really cool perspective maybe to like a lot of people on how this works with work and stuff like that. I never thought about it that way. That's cool as hell. Um, let's see. How do you tailor the kind of like on the water portion to both seasoned executives and then like the newer executive to like fishing or surfing or somebody that hasn't fished or surfed before?
yeah. That's a I'm going to answer that question. There's a lot of layers to that question, and I want to make sure I organize it in the right way to get it right. So, uh, C-suite is not for someone that runs a business and thinks they want to learn how to fly,
Right.
fish, or surf. It's not for you. Um, if you know how to surf and if you know how to fly fish, um, and you run a business, that's table stakes, okay? And it doesn't mean that like you have to be a really proficient fly fisherman. You just need to have had some exposure to it, or you won't. I will take that. We can do spin fishing. It's not my favorite, but we
Yeah.
can do spin fishing. But you need to like understand a little bit about one or the other, or you're not going to have fun. You're going to be so preoccupied with learning how to cast or learning how to paddle or like being if you're not comfortable in these if you're not physically comfortable in these settings, it's hard for you to get to the place where we can do the kind of work that we need to do. So that's the table stakes. But then I as I'm preparing for the intensives, I get a sense for, have you done mostly indicator trout fishing where you're watching the bobber drift
Right.
through an eddy line? Okay. Or have you done any saltwater fly fishing? Have you done saltwater fishing and you've done fly fishing, but you've never done saltwater fly fishing? Can you surf? Okay, great. Well, where did you surf? Is the cold water going to be an issue for you? Because it does get kind of cold in the water half the year around here. Have you like how big of waves can you handle? I need to know what your athletic ability is to tailor it so that I can get you to a spot where your brain can shut down.
Yeah.
I need your brain to stop.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for the right set and setting. Who's the right surf coach for this person that's going to understand where they are from an experience level, or who's the right guide that has the right demeanor to match with this person's skill set, because there are some guides that are better for a newbie.
Yeah.
I've got guides that I love that if you can't fish, don't show up. They're gonna yell at you and they're gonna be mad at you because the guide wants so badly to catch fish, and if your cast falls apart, they're gonna be mad at you
Yeah.
because you blew it. And so I'm figuring all that out, but it's also really fun for like this, that gangster executive that's got the best cast that throws really tight loops, and the guy gets fired up.
Yeah.
That's fun too. Or the CEO that's like, oh, they actually absolutely rip, and I need to get them with the right coach so that when they come to Jacksonville or when we go to wherever we're surfing, they have all the right local intel to make the most out of these 4 hours on the water, and they get an unbelievable session.
Yeah.
That all of that goes into planning the intensive.
I didn't think about like the executives that aren't used to that Florida heat down there. Because it's like, dude, some people like say you're from say Montana and you are used to watching like a indicator going down an eddy or something like that, dude. That Florida heat, especially like in the summer, is going to be freaking eye opener to those people, and maybe having to make a shot at like a tarpon that's 100 yards away, or like having to throw an 8 weight, 9 weight to at a tarpon that's 80 feet, and then watching
Well,
them bite
forget.
eat.
I mean, dude, forget like that. That's all. That's like heroic stuff. Imagine like you've never seen 100-pound tarpon before,
Yeah,
and now there's six of them, clear as day, coming at you. The wind's blowing 20 miles an hour in your face, and you can't even make a 20-foot shot at 11 o'clock because you've got tarpon fever, your legs are
yeah,
shaking, you're doing this with a rod real fast, and all you gotta do is put it 20 feet, and you can't even do that.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I could see a guide being freaking fit to be tied over that too. So like having to have a guide like that's calm like that, dude. Because I know a lot of those tarpon guides like down in Florida. If you got the wind in your face and that fly comes right back at you, they're gonna be hollering.
Totally.
Oh yeah, I've had it happen to me in Aruba, dude. I've never fished in a place with wind like that in my entire life. I couldn't even make like a 60-foot cast at a bonefish. It sucked. It made me look like the biggest, like horrible fisherman in the world.
So think about that. So imagine how you felt in that moment. Okay. You're like, I don't even know if I should be fishing. I might need to sell all of my equipment. This may
Yeah,
not even be for me. I am such a loser. Imagine all of that coupled with maybe you're someone that is right a lot of times. And how does it feel to be in an environment with people where you're the worst? When and everywhere else in your life, everybody looks at you because you generally have the answer. The way you do it is better than everyone else. And now all of the comfort and the safety that you have or being right or being the best is stripped away, and you're in front of people and you suck.
yeah. That's that vulnerable.
That
Oh
that teaches them so much that they can take and go back to their business and say, maybe I need to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And that's the lesson. And that's why I want to do more saltwater fishing or surfing teaches me like you can't talk your way out of blowing that shot.
yeah,
And in a lot of ways, they can use words and they're really great at telling you why it's okay for things to be this way in their business. But it's really hard to look at me and the guide and say, I just couldn't make the shot. I just couldn't make it.
yeah.
And that's on me.
Dude, I think that is something that like I think a lot of people do struggle with is being like, guess what? Like I do suck. Like I kind of had to battle with that in high school with lacrosse. I was like I was decent, but I was like I literally had to look myself in the mirror and be like, dude, I suck at this. It's like I'm horrible, and that's when I started like competitively bass fishing. As I was like, you know what? I mean, I'm better at this than I am lacrosse. I might as well just say screw it and look myself in the face and be like, well, going to fishing.
Yeah.
But that is something that like you feel so vulnerable in that moment, when, especially in front of like a bunch of people, and just having to be like, listen, man, like I suck.
Well, and then they feel that. And then I remind them, it's just tarpon fishing, dude.
Yeah,
Like this is the most useless thing in the world. So it's okay to suck because who cares? Like this is not your identity.
yeah,
It's not, it doesn't matter. But where else could you be blowing it?
yeah,
That we learn that where the stakes are a lot higher, typically around the one or three decisions around your business that you haven't been making, you're blowing it.
yeah,
And you're able to talk yourself out of that you're not blowing it. But there's something about actually blowing it on a wave or on a fish that helps them get to this place to say, I'm blowing it.
yeah,
And now I have to go do this differently. And that's what it does is they're like, yeah, I'm actually blowing it and I'm going to go and own it and tell people that I've been blowing it and now I'm going to fix it.
yeah. It's kind of like you got a problem, you got to figure out vanilla ice. You got a problem, oh, I'll solve it. You got to literally go up and say, listen, I've been blowing it. Like I gotta fucking fix it, and this is how I
Yeah,
do
I
it.
mean, like I had a CEO of a company that came out and did an intensive a couple of months ago, and he had inherited this business. He stepped in to run someone else's business that had a legacy product line that was 40% of the revenue, but it was losing money. And he didn't know how to tell the founder or some of these legacy employees that love this legacy offering. He knew that like it had to die. And he was looking for ways to preserve it, mask the failure of it, or just inability to say it was great, but it's got to die. Everything has to die at some point. We all do. And this product line needed to die, and he knew it. He didn't know how to end it. Uh, and it took him getting on the bow and fishing to say, this is how I have to go. This is how it has to die, so that the other product lines, instead of losing money on this one thing, we can reinvest all this money into letting these new lines carry the business to a new height. And he'll tell you, we would have never gotten to there just in the boardroom because he had all the information. He just needed an environment and someone to help organize all that information in a way for his intuition to tell him what he needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost you there for a second, but I think it caught up.
Yeah, yeah, it'll catch up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it caught up. That's my fault. Just so how do you balance structured business planning with spontaneity and unpredictability of outdoor adventures? We already just hit on that. That's my fault. I'll
But no, there's something else I want to
okay.
say. There, you don't balance it. You have to accept that a lot of people think they have a lot more control in business than they actually do, and so control is an illusion. And I think the best executives recognize that as their island of knowledge grows, so does their ocean of ignorance. And um, we all run the risk of being hubristic and letting our ego think that we know a hell of a lot more than we actually do. And so the balance is maybe not the right word. What I tell people is, if you think you're so smart, come feed this redfish. And you're not. And
Yeah.
and then so that for me, it's just a reminder that my ocean of ignorance is so big. And there are little things, like useless things, like, why did I fall on that wave? Or why did I why did I do a cutback there? Or why couldn't I feed that redfish? They're coming down the line eating. There's six of them eating everything in front of them, but I couldn't get them to eat my fly. What is it, too deep? Is it too shallow? Am I casting too early? Is it the wrong what it's that obsession over something that's so useless
Yeah.
that helps us take that and apply it to something so useful like growing a good business. That is it's a really dangerous combination.
Oh yeah. 100%. Like I've caught myself doing that same thing when I see like, or I had it happen to me actually with a big group of tarpon down in Mosquito Lagoon coming at me, dude. They're literally like breaching, hitting mullet. I'm like, oh, this is perfect, dude. Like I got perfect colored fly, perfectly tied. I'd throw it like right in the middle of them, land it literally perfectly, and they wouldn't eat it. And it's like I started, I'm like, shit, what am I doing? Like this sucks. Like I'm a horrible fisherman. And I was like, is it my fly? I'm literally digging through my box, and it's like that that whole thing. I was like, damn, dude. Like if I could do this with like school or work or something like that, I'd be a pretty lethal dude. But it's like I'd rather be putting my mind like that on fish or something like that than school. But
Yeah.
for sure. Um, can you share an example of a moment where a participant had a breakthrough that wouldn't have happened in a traditional business setting?
Well, I think we just
Yeah, we
talked
just
about a
talked about
guy
that.
that decided to kill. I'll give you another one.
Okay.
Recently, I had a CEO of uh, he runs a family office. He's got $500 million of assets under management, and really stuck between, do I take a more traditional uh, buy, in the family office, hire an advisor and take that incremental compounding public equities route, or do I take a more risky, um, forward thinking path and use this money in a more of a venture play? And he was stuck because like there was no wrong answer. Like you could do, or you could do both. And he had all the information. He had a memorandum. He sent me pages and pages and pages and pages of information. Um, what he needed was a place with someone who was an intellectual equal, which is a guide. No knock to guides, they're not. I mean, they're experts at catching fish, but they're not experts on growing a business. So you can't talk to a guide the way you can talk to me about your business. They've not done it. They don't have the perspective. And so he needed a place to have what I call shared cognitive load. He didn't need a coach. He had all the information. He needed someone to provide him with an environment to spar over all of the different options. And he did. And he came down, we fished, we did the traditional boardroom stuff. Basically, I took the 40 pages of information and got it down to three questions that he needed to answer. And then we went fishing and we just went back and forth. And I helped hold the heaviness of the decisions he had to make while we fished. And it became so clear for him at the end of that day what he had to do and the decisions he needed to make.
Damn, that's cool. Do you see like stuff like that? I don't hear stories like this all that often, so it's like all of it is super cool to me. I'm also not like a very huge. I'm not like a on a huge portfolio of stuff or anything like that, but I know a lot of people that are, and I think this is something that they could definitely use and help them out. And I think this is super cool what you got going on here.
No, thank you. I know it's cool. I know that it works. It's not for everyone. It's not for someone that, like I said, it's not therapy. It's not a retreat. It's not work-life balance. It's not play. It's hard work done in an unforgivable environment.
Right. And that I think that's something that like I think you're sitting on something that's really cool. Um so like some sessions are about fishing like you've talked about and others are surfing. It's like do you find one activity that like tends to unlock more flow or like get somebody in that more like flow state kind of thing as people are saying now? Or is it like a combination of the two things that matter?
I don't think that surfing or fly fishing, one is better than the other. In fact, I just choose surfing and fly fishing because that's where I want to do that.
Yeah.
It could be bow hunting, boxing, tennis, endurance running, CrossFit, like whatever your thing is. I think what matters is that you have something outside of work that's really hard and challenging that you can allow yourself to obsess over. Maybe not every day, but maybe just for a moment to unlock the rest of you that the noise in your life has muted. And for me, it's just saltwater fly fishing and surfing. But if anybody that's listening to this that says, "Well, I don't do either one of those things," that's not the point. The point is you can go find the muse, you can go find the intuition, the answer uh, outside. The point is breakthroughs in business rarely happen in fluorescent and 72. It just doesn't happen that way. I've never had a really good idea in a hotel conference room. I've had the decision to write my first book in a tree stand for over the course of 60 days in the Whitetail Woods. And my inspiration for the second book came on the Bighorn River in Montana. The point is innovation, breakthroughs in life happen when your whole body is engaged. And so whatever the thing is for you, go find it.
Right. You do much deer hunting anymore?
No,
No.
I don't.
Damn, dude. Yeah, that's what I didn't do any this year. I did some. I hunted really hard for like the first couple weeks of season. I burned myself out after like once the rut hit. But I hated that too because I was like I told myself I'm like I am not gonna deer hunt until the rut hits. And then I absolutely burned myself out by the rut. And I still got to go get my stand down and all my cameras.
Yeah.
But so we kind of hit on it a little bit earlier, but can you explain a little bit about how fly fishing improves mental health, decision making, and teaches lessons kind of like outside the office?
Well, you're never, yeah, fly fishing specifically is you never master it.
Right,
You it's impossible, and I think the same is true for business because how could you master something that is never the same. And today is different than yesterday. And fly fishing is the same way. I mean, the fish are different, you're different. Um, you have to know about the fish. So you have to obsess over the biology of the fish to know why they might do a certain thing. You have to obsess over the equipment. Like, you got to know what rod does this, why does this reel, why does this line, why about these leaders, this knot, this fly. And then you have to obsess over the craft. You have to know how to cast, how to feed, how to set a hook, how to fight a fish. And if you love something as nuanced and complicated as fly fishing, you're going to be better at business because you're going to get so many analogies and lessons on how the market changes, how people changes, how customers changes, how competitors change. It just it makes you a better executive obsessing over something that's not
All
work.
right. That is, I tend to obsess over fly fishing and and deer hunting. I think there's other people that do, like you're saying, obsess over endurance running. I mean, it's one of those things. I was like, I don't really get any enjoyment out of running unless it's after a deer I knock down. But whatever floats everybody's boat.
Yeah.
But so how I always end my podcasts is so I have a running playlist on Spotify, and I give 5 songs to the playlist, and you give 5 songs. I can go for it first, or you can go first. It's completely up to you.
Well, you go first because I remember I wrote down the 5 songs in the pre-interview questionnaire, and I got to tell you, I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I want to get it right because I was intentional about the 5 I selected.
Okay, I think I have yours here. Um, I got them out. I can also get this out. I know I saw a Goose song on there. I love that band. Shoot,
They're a new one for me. Yeah, Goose is probably within the last year for me.
did Javi get you into them? No.
No, but Javi and I are going to a Goose show together in St. Augustine on April, so it's something that we now share.
Yeah,
But Javi can't take all the credit for
yeah,
Goose.
dude. Javi actually, like, I like Goose. I like all those jam bands. Like, I love them all. Goose was a new one for me too within like the last year. Let's see. Let me get all the way down to the end of this playlist. Um, all right. My first one I had was literally like a brand new song from Eric Church, Morgan Wallen, Tim McGraw, and then Hardy. It's called MacArthur. I'm not a huge like I'm not a huge like pop country kind of guy, but that one was actually really good when I listened to it. And then a classic, Airplane by Widespread Panic.
It's a great one.
Oh yeah, and then The Mountains Win Again, Blues Traveler,
Yeah,
and then The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
those are all great.
Yeah, I love Fleetwood Mac too. I want to go see Stevie Nicks at Jazz Fest so bad.
But, Panic is a big part of my musical experience. I found them in high school. I used to do a lot of whitewater kayaking, and just something about Panic and those granola kind of hippie.
Yeah,
So Panic probably gave me the musical palette to appreciate a band like Goose.
yeah.
But I think Panic made my list. I think there's a Panic song on my
I
list
think
too.
there is. Let me see. I'm actually gonna.
If I had to guess, it's probably Blight from the Live in the Classic City album in Athens,
I
Georgia.
love that. Yeah. Here, let's see. I'm gonna expand this. See if I can find them. Um, that's I've actually, so they have a here it is. Let's see. I should be on there. There it is. All right. Let's see. So I had yours is you want me to take a picture of them and send them to you real quick, or you want me just to say them out loud for you?
Just say them out loud.
All
Yeah.
right. So you had um, click it again. Born by Goose. Leaving by Dubbist. Comeback Story by Kings of Leon. I love Kings of Leon too. Have a Cigar, Pink Floyd, and then Hurricane Season by Trombone Shorty. Another great
Okay.
band. Um, yeah, dude, I love Trombone Shorty. That whole like New Orleans scene and stuff like that is unbelievable. But what? So you said you picked them for significant reasons. What would you say for those songs were the significant reasons?
So I'll start with Have a Cigar by Pink Floyd. That song, Drew Moret picked that song. I was fishing with Drew Moret. He's a legendary tarpon guide. If you don't know Drew, he's been on Millhouse. Andy Mill interviews him about fishing tarpon year round. Drew is Sandy Moret's son.
Yeah.
Sandy Moret is, he's won some gold cups, runs a fly shop in Isla Morada. And I had the privilege of fishing with Drew for 5 days. And I don't take this lightly that my very first true tarpon fly fishing experience was with an absolute gangster
Yeah.
like Drew Moret. Um, and one day we're driving the boat from Lorelei, deep into the backcountry. It's April and sun's barely coming up, and that song comes
Oh,
on, and it's just impactful. I don't. It's hard. We've all have those
yeah.
moments, and so that's why that's on there because from now on, that song is just a part of my tarpon fishing journey. The Kings of Leon comeback story is more of a personal thing. I'm not going to get into it, but I love it. It's got a lot of significance to me. Uh, I wouldn't know about Trombone Shorty and that if it weren't for a guide and that I met at the Pelican and the
Yeah.
Chandelure. His name is Lee. Lee, if you're listening to this, you're probably not because you don't do this kind of stuff, which is what I love about you. Thank you. But Lee opened up my musical palette to a lot of this Creole Cajun stuff that is really cool. Um, and then yeah, the Goose, Goose is just something that I like them, love what they're doing, and yeah. So that's kind of the significance of all that stuff.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, that Creole stuff down there. My little brother went to Tulane, and I used to go down there and visit them, and there were like these little jazz bands that used to play on like Bourbon Street and stuff, and even like in the diviest little bars, they just shred. And it's so cool to watch. It's like just full blown like trombones, the whole 9 yards, like what you'd think about New Orleans at like a jazz bar. And it's just unbelievable. But dude, thank you so much for coming on today. Um,
My pleasure. Thanks for having
no
me.
problem, man. Do you have any last thanks and plugs you want to give?
No, no plugs, no thanks. I mean, I just thank you for having me here. It means a lot to be able to share a little bit about what I'm up to with your audience, and I appreciate you and your generosity for having me up here.
No problem, man, dude. Thank you again for coming on. I'm gonna click stop here. I'm gonna have some tracks upload, and we'll
Yep.
go from there. And that's a wrap on our 100th episode. Um, Still feels surreal to think. I mean, still feels real surreal. We're just getting started, dude. Just getting started. But once again, thank you guys a lot for listening. Um, give it a review wherever you listen. Spotify, YouTube, um, Apple, all that stuff. Give it a review. Um, and if you have anything you want me to change, or if you have something you want to suggest, like a segment you want to suggest, um, hit the DMs on the gram, TikTok, wherever, or send me an email at risefliesclt@gmail.com. That is RYSFLIES at gmail.com. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. Once again, thank you guys. This has been a blast. Um, and until next week, we're out. And everyone, if you're in the North Carolina Southeast area, be safe in the snow this weekend. Seems like it's pretty certain that we're getting some. But just be safe in that. we'll see you guys next week. And that's a wrap on the 100th episode of the Trout Wrangler Podcast.